Hello Epic 7. Look, I know Nightmare Raid can be a pain, but the value is totally worth. So today I bring you a guide for the most rewarding Nightmare Raid boss of them all. Today we show you how to beat Queen Azumashik. Safe, easy, and consistent. Now there are several videos of different teams out there, but this one is my favorite. This one is, in my opinion, the most consistent, safest, and easiest team. What makes this team work so well is a special tech that we will use to cheese the queen, and who doesn't love cheesing a queen? Something I will do in this video is I will try to use standard builds. No taking RTA units offline, and hopefully no regearing units beyond maybe an artifact change here and there. So let's jump right in and talk about the team. This team may look a little funny, but trust me, it's busted good. First, we'll start out with Tamarin. Tamarin is incredible for this fight. It's like the entire fight was built just around her kit. Tamarin needs to be in the front spot. Anywhere else and this team fails. Her stat points need to be 105% effectiveness, a little faster than 200 speed, and 13k health by 1100 defense there and abouts, just enough bulk to not die to a sneeze. Ideally 200% effect resistance, though you can probably get away without it. And for an artifact, I have her on Magahara's Tome, but feel free to use any artifact, maybe one that boosts her effect resistance. Next on the team, we'll be running Angel of Light Angelica. If you do not have her, there'll be a link in the description for a video where I replace her with Landy. But Angel of Light Angelica is needed for this cheese. She is freakishly good for this fight because she offers a touch-free way to strip and apply buff block, and this is very important to the cheese we'll be using. Her stat points are, again, 105% effectiveness, again, above 200 speed, 13k health, and 1.1k defense, there and abouts. ER isn't really needed for this, that's just her normal RTA build. For an artifact, Spirit's Breath is by far and away the best choice, but you could also run Etika's Scepter or Prophetic Candlestick to cycle her skills. Next is Tamarin's bestie, Asaria. Asaria brings with her a strip and a defense break, and buff block, three things that are very important to this fight. For her stat line, she will also need 105% effectiveness, 200 plus speed, but remember, she has to be 5% faster than Tamarin, so whatever Tam's speed is, times 1.05, that's your minimum speed for Asaria. Again, we'll go with the 13k health by 1.1k defense stat line, but you can play around with those numbers. Tankier result is better. For an artifact, you can legit run anything on her except Song of Stars. The problem with Song of Stars is that it can give one too many debuffs, and this can cause the queen to self-cleanse and attack your team. So stick with artifacts that don't give new debuffs. Miss Confile is fine for an extra chance of defense. Honestly, I chose to run Glow Wings on her because heck, no one else uses it and the barriers are kinda nice. And finally we come to Spectre Tenebria. This is my normal RTA build, but a lifesteal build would also work just fine. The Unity set is of course not required. All that matters is that she does a lot of damage. Change your artifact to Caladra for extra damage, in fact. Remember, Daydream Joker does not work on the queen, so don't use that artifact. You don't have to change her artifact, but for the price it costs you to change her artifact, it really makes this run a lot faster. Her stat line is simple. A little bit of speed, a little bit of bulk, and a whole lot of damage. For a Guardian, we're going to go with Kazran. Kazran can help cleanse the debuffs at the very end of the fight, but really a Guardian is not required for this. I can tell you that the Guardians don't do much damage. Much like the Queen is immune to Daydream Joker, she's also immune to the enhanced damage of Guardians. One of the hardest parts about the Queen fight is just north of the entrance. You have to fight a mini-boss with the title Masochist. You see, the mini-boss's titles actually mean something in Raid. They give you clues as to what that mini-boss does. As the name implies, Masochist boss gets stronger the more you hit them. So you may want to turn auto off for this boss and focus your damage units into the Masochist, while your units that don't do damage, like AOL's S1 or Tamarin's S1, you can send those into the trash mobs so you don't stack up its Masochist ability. It's very easy to run this on auto and wind up having his Masochist ability stacked so high that he one-shots one of your units. After you pass this mini-boss, you can leave full auto on the rest of the way there, head due north, And at this split, you can go either left or right. There's a mini-boss at either side. The mini-boss on the left is got the title Corrupted. The mini-boss on the right has the title Counterattack. Corrupted bosses hit you with a corruption effect that acts like a secondary pop damage. Think like the boss maybe has Rengar's drink. To the right, the counterattack boss, well, if you do too much damage in one hit, it'll give itself a unremovable counterattack buff, and you just have to deal with that until he cycles it off. I always go to the left out of habit, but the right's fine too. Pick your poison. Now, once you get to this corner, you want to turn auto off. And the reason is that after this corner, there's only one more fight. And we want to use that fight to get everybody's skills online. So it's very important that Spectre Tenebria's S3 skill is off, because you don't want her to hit multiple targets. That breaks our cheese. It's also very important that Tamarin is ready to transform at the start of the fight. If she's not, your run will probably fail. It's semi-important that Angel of Light has her S3 ready in case Asaria misses her buff block. And it's also important that Asaria has her S3 ready, because she's going to apply her defense break and buff block. I know I just said the same thing 4 times. Make sure all your units have all their skills ready. During this fight, you can use Tamarin's S2 for healing, of course, but other than that, just use S1s to kill all of the mobs, and we'll get to the spot right below the Queen fight. Now that we have arrived at the space before the Queen fight, we prepare. First, you can drink all these blue potions to polish off any damage you might have taken in the prior fight, and now we should camp. We want to camp because our morale is in the yellow, and we want it in the green. In the green, we get an extra HP bonus, so that will help us out. More stats is always better. What camping choices you take really don't matter. If you want to hear what people have to say, you can pretty much pick anything, but if you really want to maximize the morale, maybe for additional exploration, then Asaria's advice and Tenebria's joyful memory give the best morale for this camp. Now that we've prepared and all is ready, you make sure auto is turned off and you head north into the fight.
On my word.
At the start of the fight, Tamarin's S3 should be ready to go, so all you need to do is hit the Queen. Don't use any skills, because when the Queen initiates, she'll self-cleanse everything. You notice the defense break? Gone.
You can't close your eyes.
At the start of the fight, Queen hits everybody with a Queen's Binding debuff. The Queen's Binding debuff basically paralyzes you and locks you at the 60% CR mark. That's what makes Tamarin so good. When the bees hatch, they put debuffs on your whole team, but Tamarin can transform, cleansing all of those debuffs away. And her S2 is not only an attack buff, but its CR pushes everybody by 50%, cycling off the Queen's Binding. Now she can use her S1, which will strip the Queen and will dual attack with Spectre Tenebria.
As you command.
Now, though she is already in Idol's form, you can still use Asaria's S2 to reset her, so she'll be able to transform again once Idol's form wears off. Now we want to use Asaria's S3, and our goal is to put buff block and defense break on the Queen. Okay, we got buff block but no defense break. Buff block's more important. If you don't get buff block, you can use Angel of Light's S3 here, but since we have buff block, we'll go ahead and save Angel of Light's S3 for later.
You want to try me?
Now, remember, do not use Tenebria's S3. It's all a game of S1s, and we hit the Queen with all of our attacks. Our goal is to get the Queen down to as close to 50% as we can without crossing the threshold. Once you drop right below 50% threshold and the Queen is hit, it'll initiate phase 2, and we're trying to avoid that.
I'm scared.
I should have burned Asaria there for the defense break, but it's okay. There's no problem with transforming Tamarin this early. As we get closer to the 50% threshold, we need to make sure we don't transform Tamarin, because we don't want her S1 to splash into the Queen and push phase.
Careful, please move aside.
We still have buff block up, so we will hold off on using the S3.
This should be fun.
You want to pay close attention to how much damage your Tenebria does, so you can min-max as we get closer to the 50%, making sure you don't over-damage. We've lost buff block, so now we can use the S3 on Angel of Light.
At least to you it will.
And there's
Not
buff
bad.
block back up. Let's see how hard this S1 hits.
This
Okay.
is my stage.
That was without an attack buff. I think we can do one more hit.
Get ready.
Well,
Refresh the defense break. Oop, dual attack. And there, that looks pretty good.
I think I'm going to faint.
If Tenebria hits again, we'd push phase, so we're just going to stop here.
Don't come near me.
Now what we want to start doing is hitting the bees. You see, here's where the cheese comes in. The queen has an Arius effect. When you hurt the bees,
As you
Arius
command.
style damage goes into the queen. So what we're going to do is we're going to damage the bees, but since nobody is directly hitting the queen, we don't push phase. And through this, we can push our HP bar all the way down, very close to the end. This is why Angel of Light's needed. We need to maintain the buff block, but we can't do it with Asaria, because Asaria would hit the queen and push phase. We also can't transform Tamarin, so you've got to use her S2s and soul-burned S1s if you're in trouble for healing.
Go
Queen is
away.
right at 50%. Now you'll notice we're below the 50% mark, but we have not pushed phase yet.
I'll give you a rest.
Nobody's really hurt, we just S1.
You can't close your eyes. Yes.
well, I'm left with no choice.
On my word. I'm scared. You aren't even fit to kiss my feet.
I won't stand
We
down.
S3 to reapply buff block. At any point in time, if you miss this buff block, don't panic. Have Asaria use her S2 to reset your Angel of Light, and she can S3 again.
Get
There's
ready.
no need to S2 Tamarin because Tamarin's skills are currently ready and we're not transforming her.
Careful, please move aside.
I think I'm going to faint.
Top off with the S2 healing here.
You want to try me?
Well, please.
Going to avoid using the S3 on Angel of Light
I'll
because
give you a
she'll lap.
rest.
And that'll get us one extra turn.
I'm scared. Yep. Don't come
Okay,
near.
one bee is down. We start working on the second one. We've got the queen down to about 37% health. We use the S3 to apply buff block.
I will deliver unto you
Your salvation.
As you command.
And we got it, so Asaria does not need to use her S2 on Angel of Light.
The sword of flowers.
We'll go ahead and defense break B number 2.
You can't close your eyes.
And everybody's pretty hurt. We'll use the S2 to heal up.
follow the light of truth.
The skill null from Angel of Light is really nice for keeping our team healthy.
I think I'm
You can
going
see
to
why we can't
faint.
transform Tam. At any point in time, if we transform
I will
Tam,
stay by
at
your
some
side.
point she would need to use her S1 skill, which would activate the queen.
You aren't
You
even
can also
fit
see
to
why we
kiss
cannot
my
use
feet.
Tenebria's S3. Because once we use her S3, she hits multi-targets, and if she accidentally hit the queen,
With no
it would push
choice.
phase.
Dar will remain
Once again, we apply the
At
buff
least
block.
to you it will.
On my word.
A little bit tedious, but very safe.
I'm scared. Go away.
Not bad.
Also, you cannot use the Guardian. The Guardian would count as a hit on the queen, and that would push phase. We lost the defense break, but we can get that back. We've got plenty of souls, so when Asaria's turn comes around, we'll just soul burn Asaria's S1 and get our defense break back up. Everybody's really hurt, so I'm going to soul burn Tamarin's S1 to get... You know what?
Get ready.
I want to go ahead and use the S3, so even though she doesn't really need it, I'm going to reset AOL, and then I can use the S3.
My sword.
I forgot all about
As
glow
you
wings.
command.
That S2 on Asaria gave everybody a nice round of barriers.
Forever. I pledge myself.
Wow, we really just missed the defense break. 15% in PvE, am I right, guys?
Don't come near me.
tankiest bee ever because he's not getting defense broken. Okay, more buff block. I hope this sticks because we kind of wasted our reset. And it does, good. So we're going to soul burn the S1 this time to get the defense break up. There we go.
You want to try me?
There's nothing wrong with burning Tenebria as well. You could soul burn Tenebria to rapid kill this bee and speed this fight up quite a bit. I don't know why I'm being so stingy with souls. Maybe I'm saving them for Epic 8 or something, but smart move here would be just to soul burn that bee to death with Tenebria.
Trust in your own will.
I'm scared.
Hello? This should be fun. Careful, please move aside.
As you
Okay, I want
command.
Tenebria to drop a big bomb into the bee, so I'm just going to hit a cocoon so that she can get this hit. Now because this is the last hit we need, there's no reason to not use the S3. So I'm going to rip the S3 into the bee for really big damage into that defense break. Watch the damage on the queen. Watch the queen's health bar.
There's no escape. Ever.
Take a whole 5% of her health in one hit. So now the queen only has 20% health left. Before you push phase, you want to make sure your team is fully healed and that the queen doesn't have any attack buff up. So now everybody is fully healed and the queen does not have attack buff. That means it's safe to push phase.
Oath of the White Flower.
We'll get some barriers up just for an extra layer of protection and we'll push phase. Hey, nice dual attack. Only 12% left on the queen. The reason you do all that is you don't want the queen doing her attack while she has an attack buff or she'll attack again with greater attack buff. You don't want to be too low health or somebody might die from all that. So you want to make sure you go into this phase healthy with no buffs on the queen. Now it's just like phase 1. Tamarin S2, S3s, removes queen binding, and now we're good to push through.
Here. Try harder. May blessings
Queen gives
be
herself
with
attack buff, and
you.
Angel of Light can strip that right away.
The door will remain closed.
At least to you it will.
I'll give you a rest.
Go ahead and apply buff block and defense break with Asaria.
The Sword of Flowers.
Now once again, check your health. We're all pretty much full health with the buff block, so we're good to go ahead and kill the queen. Because the queen hits and stacks so many bleeds, you don't want to do this if you're on the edge of death. Now, I could have just S2'd and healed with Tamarin and ridden out the debuffs, but I had all these souls that I didn't get to use before, so we'll just pop Kazran for fun. Now it's just a waiting game. 3 bleeds isn't going to kill anybody, especially with Tamarin healing. As long as you don't make the mistake of finishing the queen off when you're at death's door, you shouldn't die from those bleeds. Now it's just a matter of waiting until the queen takes a turn and her immortality drops off. That little frowny face is her immortality, by the way. And now she's done, and anybody can kill her. In fact, we will just have Tamarin punch her in the face. I'm using a soul burn to heal up so that I can go and fight some other bosses, but that's it. Incredibly stable and clean queen team. Just follow those steps, getting her down to 50%, and then working the bees all the way down, and then finishing off what's left of the queen. But make sure before you hit the queen and transition into phase 2, and before you kill the queen and transition into the final bleed phase, that you have accounted for your health to make sure that you don't just die from the transition. You do all that, and you should never fail the queen fight again. Now, if you want to min-max the floor, there is one other mini-boss. It's over in this spot right here. It's a counterattack mini-boss. Once you clear that, there are no other mini-bosses in the entire north section. You can either teleport to another section to trailblaze for the rest of your units, or just kill the mobs, the trash mobs that are in this section, and you'll rack up some additional ancient coins. Usually after I kill the queen, I just teleport straight to the exit and leave, but so this is the entire north section explored. You can see the little cross sword icons. That's where the fights are if you want to go and max out your ancient coins. Once we're done, we teleport back to home and exit, and fingers crossed we get a really, really good piece. Okay, we only got 188 piece, and it is... yuck. That's terrible. That's like missing an entire roll. All of those stats are one-off minimum. I'm not even rolling it, just get it out of my sight. Hopefully the next round treats us better. Hopefully this will help you with your fight versus Queen Azumashik. If you have any questions, ask them in the comments section. And as always, like and subscribe. Have a great one, Epic 7.